win the series by any margin and you're in playoffs. Lose the series margin and you are out. It's that simple. So now, looking at what they've kind of brought in for the table right now, it looks like they've kind of just gone and said, look, we want front-to-back team fights with a little bit of assassination.
Yep, and we do have the LeBlanc versus Tristana matchup for this game one, where I think WE, it's a little bit more spicy with that Rumble pick being for the top laner. So it is going to be all about those chokes and how this LeBlanc is going to be able to find angles onto the enemy team. I think Shanks, honestly, is that shining star and the main carry for WE. You often think of Hope, but I think Shanks has honestly been performing up to par on every single champion that he's able to get his hands on. But on this other side, we have NIP, and I think NIP's team composition is very traditional, but of course with the addition of Tristana mid, which we've seen a lot in the LPL. I'm kind of mixed opinions on this as we are going to the game live now. 1 minute and 50 seconds, not too much action, but this Tristana mid, the main objective for it is to get those side lane towers down and get this macro game online for NIP.
That's the thing. We've seen it actually from a couple of different teams. OMG, kind of the one I think about for Cream specifically, that it doesn't matter if you get kills with it or not. It's not about getting the kills necessarily, it's about getting the advantages within the lane. But speaking of advantages within the lane, Invincible has a little bit of help here from Shadow, but a great ward already from Biubiu means that he knows exactly what's going on right now. And again, we'll see more and more priority coming out here from WE. They have got a good top side. Then we'll maybe see Shadow a couple more times here to make sure Invincible just straight up doesn't die.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow has been looking more and more comfortable with the days going by in the LPL, and I think when both of these junglers in this game specifically, they love playing aggressive, and if they're able to get that early tempo going for the teams, well, it's just going to be a very one-sided match. As like you said, this series by WE is going to determine if IG is in or out, and obviously WE need to get any win that they can grab to secure that 10th position.
That's it. If you're an IG fan right now, it means you're an NIP fan, because this is literally to decide who makes that 10th spot in playoffs for the side of either NIP, or sorry, not NIP, excuse me, IG or WE. For WE, they've done so well in recent days. You look at some of their series, it does feel, like you mentioned, that Shanks and Heng have just been doing so very well at keeping themselves going. Shadow now has to flash away, but Lwandy wants to go straight in on top of this. It's a straight up 4v4 at level 4. Shadow not quite going down just yet. There's decent damage coming out from the Zeri, but not quite great enough. Shanks flashes away. Aphelios doing more than Hope can, and Hope will get himself over the wall, you would imagine, with a little bit of a skate, a little bit of a glide.
No
Should
dash.
just be fine. No dash. One cooldown. Had to wait a couple more seconds. You can see it was almost up, but he couldn't risk it, not with the Gravitum coming in.
Oisin, that's a 1 flash for 4 flashes trade on the side of WE, and they don't even get the Scuttle Crab, so that was such a terrible fight to take. As, I mean, NIP, they are very happy with only burning the Maokai flash from Shadow, so it's a little worrying already, because this is the make or break game for them. And with Hope and Lwandy both burning that flash so early on in the game, I mean, Shadow, he can just look bottom lane with this Gravitum gun.
We'll see what NIP can do with that now, as we see a little bit of a ward. Photic does have flash, but he may be losing it. Don't know if it's going to be worth much more after that. 1, 2, 3. That's all it takes. And the power of a single ward means that WE get themselves first blood and they get it onto Hope.
Photic was a little bit too greedy with the position he backed on, and it was exactly on a ward placed by WE before they did that huge skirmish for the Scuttle. And the first bullet is going to go into the hands of Hope, which is going to allow them to breathe a little bit after how terribly that 4v4 went in the bottom side river.
Have a look at the replay here. I think it's just a summoner blow, I believe. Or we're just looking at minions. Not quite sure why we're looking at minions, but we're looking at minions. And, oh, they're actually just giving over to Dream, that despite Dream moving over on that last play, he's down about 15 CS, which is kind of crazy.
Was terrible for Dream to actually rotate on, as Lwandy is just also going to force Dream off. Ooh, barely buffeted it from the Tristana, but This Tristana can't be behind in CS since you need those items online to really become a threat in the side lane. But with Photic giving over the first blood, also burning the flash in that bottom lane, both junglers can look towards there. But you have the Nautilus in WE's hand, and specifically Lwandy, and he's already being very proactive with it.
Being very, very proactive, having that Hex Flash to kind of pull off the distance here, and recognizing that not really much kill threat between an Aphelios Lulu, to be perfectly honest. You do have Shadow off in the wings. Heng and Lwandy kind of moving forward onto this, trying to see if they can clear out some more vision as quick as they possibly can. Could be another 3v3 in the bot side, but again, I like this from WE. They know that their playoffs are in their own hands. They don't need to do anything crazy. They can just cover off, make sure they're getting the bandages they can, and they should be getting with this Lee Sin jungle.
Does seem like that WE is also going to just secure the vision. Rumble going to get dropped.
And the Ignite.
Not going to be too much, as it is going to be an ult for ult trade, but the dragon started up by Heng now, where NIP struggling to walk in with the amount of control that Lwandy has in this river, and also Shanks consistently getting pushed up against Dream, which is kind of defeating the purpose of a Tristana mid right now. Yeah,
tend to agree with you. As more priority in that bot side means that WE are able to pick up their first dragon of the game. Means they can delay if they need to, as Dream might be forced to use the buster shot in a minute.
Shanks.
I mean, Shanks, you mentioned him, you highlighted him because he has been just kind of ramping up towards playoffs right now. And look, this WE roster kind of, separated itself back from 2021 where they wanted to try and, they just missed out on qualifying for Worlds, made the gauntlet run, it just was all for naught. But they reset, they revitalized, and they ignited their winning ways, to be honest with you. And now to come all around Shanks and how Shanks has been able to manipulate the mid lane.
Yeah, Shanks has really been impressing me with how he plays these games mechanically, as he is a very big Ryze and Cassiopeia fan, where a lot of these champions are getting target banned up against him. But tonight it is going to be the LeBlanc for this game 1, and 20 CS up, also out-trading this Tristana, who doesn't have the vamp step just quite yet. It's going to really hurt how Shadow is going to be able to rotate around the map, as he is acting as that glue to keep NIP in the game.
Well, Invincible going to take a very poor trade there, and all it was just to try and put down a ward. And this is why we've been seeing the Rumble a hell of a lot. When you do miss your trades and top with a Gragas or a Kasante, anybody, to be perfectly honest, having that reduced magic resistance, having it shredded down by those harpoons, and the overheat of the flame spitter can just be so oppressive. We'll see Shanks maybe going for an aggressive move here in the mid lane. 6 by Shadow, but he knows the Rift Herald is kind of happening right now. So Shadow being a little bit passive, it feels like. He kind of wants to go for the gank, doesn't really want to do anything else there, and loses half HP and doesn't get to contest the Rift Herald at all.
Yeah, Lwandy's here first once again, and it just seems like WE has so much priority when it comes to these solo lanes, where these junglers that we've had for tonight is really benefiting, especially every time the Lee Sin gets locked in, as it is going to be first dragon, of course, first Herald going to the pockets of Heng, and Shadow is really struggling to make a play cross map, where he's just trading all these objectives for pretty much nothing.
Look at the CS lead. CS lead in mid. It's the CS lead in bot, and it's not a small one either. It's about 15 or so for both of these guys. So this is going to be a lot harder, you would imagine, for NIP to kind of draw themselves back. They're almost 2,000 gold down just passively. And with that dragon as well, it becomes a lot harder, you would imagine, for NIP to really force fights. They want to try and get this Maokai going. Dream is just getting bullied right now by the Shanks and the LeBlanc.
I know, I think Dream really needs to get that lifesteal into his pockets. Ultimate from Invincible.
Oh, it looks like he wants it, but there's going to be a flash in. And Invincible gets himself a 1v1. I will take your bullying no longer. He gets himself a very good trade in that top side.
A solo kill from Invincible, where I don't think Biubiu expected the amount of damage, as he was just trying to push his wave and using all the spells onto the minions. And Invincible caught that angle and gets the return kill without even getting the flash from this Rumble. But it's going to be another really nice jump away from Dream, but he's already down 1 plate. Plus the CS, I mean, I'm getting a little bit worried. The win con of double ADC is that you need this Tristana ahead, so she's able to provide that silent pressure with the items online, and also shred these major objectives like the Baron, like the Dragons, extremely quickly under W's noses.
That's the big thing. I think you're not getting that. It's kind of almost like the opposite of what we expected here in Dream. really not having a fun time here. Lwandy is just taking any moment he possibly can to roam into this mid lane as Dream takes an electrocute. And Heng and Lwandy are here again. It's going to be a 3v3 in that mid lane. 1v1 in the bot side, as you can see Photic. I don't know if you want this fight because you're going to get electrocuted. Ooh, he puts down the Moonlight Vigil.
He can't move. Okay, nice.
Oh, he can't move there for a second, but does end up losing both his summoners for the no summoners of Hope. So Hope loses his own, gains 2 summoners off of Photic. That's just a better straight-up trade.
Yeah, Hope was actually really lucky finding the exact pixel where the turret didn't hit him. And it is going to be a 0-for-2 summoner trade in the ADC 1v1. Shadow is hovering top lane.
Yeah, he's hovering top side, which means that Biubiu is almost certainly going to be dying here, you would imagine. Just drop down a little bit. Tries to flash over the wall. Does not get it. It was too thick of a wall for him to kind of get over it. Speaking of getting over it, they get themselves over the wall on bot side. They pop down the ultimates. You have no summoners, and you're both going to die. That is it. You can see Heng just wants to try and give it over to his AD carry. He will. Hope will die because of it. But end of it all, it is still going to be a 2-for-1 trade at the end of it in bot side with a 1-0 over in top. 3-for-3 in the scores, but it's a 2,000 gold lead and plenty of plates here for WE.
Yeah, but the difference is that WE is playing towards a Zeri and getting her online. Already picking up the Immortal Shield by also 20 CS up. Where NIP, they chose to play towards this half-tank Gragas is also building the Roa, while your ADC Photic on the Aphelios is just getting bullied by Heng and Lwandy in this lane situation where the Herald gets dropped and this really nice double kick from Heng lands onto the bottom lane of NIP and also Zhuo forcing to flash here, getting picked up as well. Unfortunately, Hope
like Heng could have
thought he could flash away. He thought he could flash away.
I was gonna say, I think Heng could have dacked up one more shot. Like I feel like he got a little bit like, you know, this is my health bar. As Photic, no summoners, cleanse gets used here, which means Hope.
He's shredded.
He's shredded, but he only needs one more. There it is. Finally now. Hope is kind of isolated and on his own. Will eventually go down, you would imagine. Will it be a little bit of a touchdown? That's the question, as he's not even gone down just yet.
Out?
He's actually not. He's not going down. He hasn't died just yet, and he's still putting out damage. When all is dark, you gotta hold on to Hope, because Hope never dies.
That's so illegal from Hope. How does that ever happen? Hope engages everything onto Photic, where he went into that with the mentality of a 1-for-1 trade. But NIP, they just didn't have the damage to finish off a 1 HP Zeri. And it's going to be a 0-for-3 trade. And also the Dragon going to the hands of WE. LPL Zeris are so insane, man.
Oh man, a Zeri moment if I ever did see one. This is a 5-1-1 Hope. Look at this one, because I love this play, because he knows that Photic has no summoners.
Yeah, he instantly cleanses his root from Photic as well. Does miss the last few autos, finally gets it onto Photic and flash from Shadow, which gets the guaranteed root. But I think Dream flashed into the wall there, so he wasn't able to catch up, getting rooted as well from Shanks from the LeBlanc. So there just wasn't enough damage from this Maokai this early on in the game, and I believe he got a shield from Heng, which the last auto attack and also the Lulu Q didn't finish him off.
Okay, can give Dream a little bit of a pass. It's just a visual bug. He did get over the wall with his flash. So just wanna confirm that Dream did not mess up his flash. It's a visual bug. Doesn't help the fact that you are now looking at a 4,000 gold lead that I am almost 99% sure of. The 2.5 of that is onto Hope, and 2 dragons. Ocean Soul is going to be the Rift, and WE taking control of this game 1. And the great thing about this, you don't want to just scrape in the playoffs. That's not how you want to enter into a best-of-5 do-or-die gauntlet that is the LPL playoffs. You want to go in with confidence, and this is the kind of confidence that you're going to see here coming in from WE. Invincible has got the flash, but not really much else going to be happening there. And they are just going to back themselves away. And similar to what we saw from Kanavi in the first series with Heng on this Lee Sin, it's bot to Dragon, to gank, to Rift Herald, to gank. There's so much happening there. And there is a 3,000 gold lead just between Hope and Photic.
But Hope just goes top lane and gets the tower anyways. I feel like this Zeri is the jungler of WE, where he's getting the kills, he's getting this macro done for this team, and he's also just everywhere on the map. I mean, he's now 5-1, also backing, most likely going to pick up his second item at 15 minutes, which is going to be the Runans. I mean, WE, they're looking to secure that 10th spot, and it's going to start with Hope.
Always going to start with hope. Hope builds belief. Belief builds work. And work builds results. That's how you have to make this one happen here for WE.
Set.
Yeah, that's how it works, man. Zhuo, flash for flash. Lwandy's happy with that. He's got Hex Flash, so he's totally happy with that trade. And that means that Rift Tower gets dropped into mid lane. Zeri's going to be able to pop this one down very quickly. That is a 2-item Zeri at 16.5 minutes. And honestly, going to have probably 2.5 items before too long because he's just got so much working for him.
The two mid laners haven't even picked up their mythics yet, so it's kind of a big goal difference in Hope's hands. But now all the outer tier ones have been taken off by WE, and NIP really struggling to get any vision control, especially for Shadow, where he is trying to work on getting picks one by one onto the enemy team. But if you're working with absolutely no towers to protect you, then how are you going to be proactive around the map, as you are a tank Maokai, not even AP, so your solo AP is going to be Invincible on this rower build for the Gragas in top lane.
Yeah, it'll be a while before he gets up to full AP. We'll have some fairly decent tank stats in the meantime, but yeah, definitely not an ideal situation coming into this mid game, which you should own as NIP. You opted into the double AD carry. You wanted to try and make this Tristana work. I can tell you now, it didn't. You're 35 CS down. It's not got the kills you wanted. You haven't even touched that that mid lane tower. We'll see what WE can do now with this advantage. Just restock ourselves and reset ourselves up in terms of what this series means, what this game means. WE need to win this series. Game score does not matter as long as they win the series. Even if they win 2-1, they still get into playoffs. If they lose by any measure, if they lose 1-2, if they lose 0-2, that's when they drop out of playoffs. It's very simple. Win series, get into playoffs, lose series, you are out. So if you're an IG fan, like we've been saying, you're an NIP fan. But for WE, starting this game off so brightly, it's hard to see how the NIP can maybe bring this one back. It feels like maybe you're looking at a second game kind of mini reverse sweep.
Yeah, back to draft we go, as this Tristana mid just isn't really working out, and this all goes back to the 4-for-4 skirmish, or 4-vs-4 skirmish for that Scuttle Crab at around 3 minutes. As WE, they seem like they lost a lot, burning all 4 flashes in the bottom side for only 1 Maokai flash. But we didn't actually spot out the wave, as Shanks had 2 waves stacked up and pushed in. Dream missed out on that, and it kind of just snowballed from there.
We'll see what they want to go for right now. Flash burn straight away. Shadow no longer having that. Invincible gets caught off onto the side. This is not ideal here, and they're in a choke. You're on top of the equalizer. That's not where you want to be. They're just burning their health bars down. Great Moonlight Vigil does some very significant damages. Hope gets caught out just a little bit, cleanses immediately. Flash for flash. Biubiu getting chased down by Photic. Photic does not want this to go away. And it's a 1-for-none trade. This is fantastic by Photic. He's a one-man army.
Yep, the Ghost ends up catching up onto Biubiu, as he had to also burn the flash, but that was a really big rumble ult coming out of Biubiu for that specific choke. I don't know if it's going to be enough for them to come back into the game, but it's definitely going to be a start, as the Dragon is also available and NIP is going first.
NIP, you've got opportunities here to try and catch out WE, and they're going to look for it right now. There's a great explosive cast. It catches out Heng. It catches out Lwandy. Heng needs to stay alive, but TP in.
No!
Why are you TPing into that, Shanks? There's no way you can take that, but now they don't want the Dragon, they want the Baron. That's 20 minutes on the clock. Shadow is around. They haven't killed off the Lee Sin, though. They don't know where he is either.
Oh, hell no! NIP just comes in and gets 3 singular picks, as Heng is on the enemy lines right now, behind enemy lines, getting that crowd, getting a bit of extra health. We have 3 members alive for WE.
This is dangerous! It's not even a flip. You've got the equalizer coming down, which means you don't have the health bars. You can't just take this off of spawn. Invincible now, running into Hope. WE avert disaster. Just for the moment, Invincible flashes in, but it's the belly slam. So now Dream, he goes in and he's got himself an explosive cast. Gets himself the kill. That's Gragas picking up a kill on top of the Zeri. Big shutdown. 3-0-2 now for Invincible. The Dragon's still live, but I don't think that NIP can contest it.
I mean, I guess W forced NIP off the Baron because Hope was just a beautiful distraction, but your ADC is now dead. And NIP, they are making their way back. This is going to be Ocean Soul Point. Invincible having that ultimate available can zone them up with Shadow.
Nature's Grass. Might be able to use it here. They know there's no AD carry. They're going to look for to try and steal it. There we go. There's the Lee Sin kick. Right, knock him back, but the Dragon hasn't gone down just yet. 2,000. Explosive down. They're going to try and secure it down. Oh, it got so low, but it is end up going to be a pick. And a Dragon now for NIP. The momentum is shifting right now, Kitty. WE are looking so much worse than they were about 5 minutes ago.
But how does this game turn from WE's winning game into 7 and 8 scoreline? Just getting these picks onto Biubiu for the Rumble. Shadow going over the wall. Oh my god, this game has just went from a winning game 1 for WE as NIP was struggling to find angles to come back, but one by one these picks. Also the Baron threat just kind of distorted what WE had as a game plan, and Invincible and this Gragas was getting so many picks onto this enemy team. And this Tristana, I mean, it is about the resets, and it's so nice because this is the ideal fight that you want.
This is just need WE. You gotta look at them right now saying, calm down. You don't need to overforce these things. You don't need to be putting yourself in bad situations. You could have given up this Dragon a while ago. You didn't need to fight it. You didn't need to give over effectively what was 5 kills over the space of about 3 or 4 minutes. And now we come back in. It's still about a 2,000 gold lead. They're not completely burned through their lead yet, but it is WE looking so much shakier and NIP gaining in confidence. But imagine now with is that an Infinity Edge build coming out here for... No, sorry, I'm an idiot. Ignore me. I thought that was Photic going for Infinity Edge second. I was like, we should normally see the Bloodthirster, and it is going to be the Bloodthirster.
We need to remind the audience that this Zeri was 2 items at 15 minutes, but the 2 times that he's kind of thrown... Oh, the kick!
They look for a pick. Invincible goes golden. That's the stopwatch broken, but a great equalizer stops anyone from NIP from catching back up. WE get themselves a pick, but they have to use a hell of a lot to try and make it work.
It is going to be the top laner, as WE not going to start this Baron because Dream is going to be forcing out the TP just to make sure that they don't give over a free major objective. But this game is so scrappy, especially when everything's on the line for WE. Can't be making these mistakes.
No, you cannot. And this is what I honestly am eating my words at this point, because it started off with us saying, or me saying, you know, this is great from WE. Very confident win is what you want to try and bring yourself into a playoffs. You don't want to just scrape in. But now they've got a lot to think about, because your Zeri's at 3 items. You're a full Infinity Edge ahead of the Aphelios. You should be winning, but you need to calm down. You need to take these fights as well as they can present themselves to you. You can't just overforce them. You have to make sure you're not just kind of, you know, running headfirst into NIP, because that's exactly what they want. Look at the amount of disengage and just displacement that NIP have between the Gragas, the Lulu, and of course the Maokai.
Yeah, exactly, and that is kind of reflected into Biubiu's scoreline, currently 0 and 4. But I still think it's all eyes onto Hope. 3 items on the Zeri, where he can't be making these really greedy plays where he is in the enemy team's territory and getting caught out, as you are going to be the main damage point for WE, since Shanks is still sitting on only 1 item, working towards that Shadow Flame, but it's not going to be enough if the Zeri's dead first.
That's where the majority of your gold lead lies. Now WE trying to do a little bit of a Baron dance. We're at 25 minutes. Big item completions coming in. I gotta say, Invincible, he's just as big as a Zeri sometimes, depending on how you look at it. He's got 3 items of his own. Lots of defense here onto Invincible. And it's becoming a Gragas versus Zeri combination, you know. If you can end up having, you know, Zeri do free hitting, that's totally fine. You will win so many of those fights, Hope.
Yep. And before we
they're
finish your
corralling
point,
him.
we need to look at the flashes for Invincible and Shadow as they are available. And Hope having that cleanse, he needs to use it very smartly because this is going to be sole point for the side of WE. And with the amount of healing that this already has, you need to be building heal cut very soon if that does go. But Invincible, he's trying to look for a flank right now.
Both teams could work out for some heal cut. Considering you have two double BT on the side of NIP for Dream and Photic. This could be it. The minion tanks up the hook. They're going to drop Photic down. Get him away with his go. Shadow taking a hell of a lot of damage, but there is a couple of fruits. Remember, it's an ocean rift, which means plenty of honey fruits available to you as Photic now wants to try and make sure that Hope doesn't just get a free line into this mid lane tier 2. Takes it down to about just below half HP. 4 seconds till Dragon spawns. We haven't even had the Dragon spawn just yet. Lwandy, without his flash, without his ignite, waiting for his ultimate. It's going to be hard, you would imagine, for WE to really make a fight work. They really lost a lot of their engage.
Yeah, this Rumble really needs to take advantage of these jungle domain because once you drop the ultimate, it can separate NIP from being a 5-man unit, but they're kind of caught out right now. They need to run. We have Hope at the very top.
Harpoon's doing a hell of a lot there to make sure Invincible didn't feel confident to go for the flash body slam. Now top lane gets pushed in. This is the thing though, is that NIP are losing out on the side lanes. It's gone from a 2,000 gold lead to a 3,000 just passively just because of the way the lanes have been set up. The Dragon hasn't been started just yet because I think NIP are very well aware they could go for the Dragon and probably get it themselves, but if you leave open that Baron, this 3-item Zeri will destroy it. There's no other term for it. So now we'll see Biubiu moving forward into this fog of war, seeing if he can try and catch someone out, but Lwandy's going to have his ult back, so your Ghost is still down for Photic, which means it's a net positive here for WE if they want to go for a fight.
Yep, and WE does have that extra pink ward on the Baron, so just in case NIP decides to trade for the Dragon over Baron, then they're going to do it extremely fast with the double ADC composition. But WE playing it very slowly and allowing Shanks to poke down the enemy team is going to be the ideal situation as we have Shadow trying to sniff out Heng in the enemy lines. But is it going to be enough? Because they don't know where the carries are. They don't know where LeBlanc is.
I was going to say, Heng needs to be the one who's in the pit. There's a kick straight away by on top of Invincible. The Dragon haven't just yet. They're going to drop down the Equalizer to try and separate Dream and Zhuo from the rest of his team. Shanks gets caught out just a little bit. Invincible jumps straight on top of Hope. And the Rumble's dead. It's going to be a Moonlight Vigil to try and pepper down this damage. Flash in! And like I said, it's the Gragas versus the Zeri. Invincible versus Hope. And Invincible puts down his mark, gets himself his mark, and that's going to be 2 kills on the Dragon over to NIP.
With the Zeri and Biubiu dead for the side of WE, it's also going to be Baron as you have Tristana and also Photic shredding down this major objective, and it looks like NIP taking the game back into their own hands. Heng trying so hard to get there ASAP. He has the smite available. Is he going to be able to flip this?
He has the execute damage as well on his Qs. If he lands a Q into a smite, it can be the difference maker. He wants to put himself around the back of the pit, skirts himself away from that little bit of a sapling. Now knows that the Baron is only a little bit away. They know exactly where he is. It's going to be Dream jumping in, but gets kicked back straight away. The Q will not land onto anybody. They don't want to flip this. They go into the pit because there's no vision. Really well played there by NIP. They knew there was absolutely no vision in the pit, and NIP are taking control of this game. WE, they're seeing their playoff hopes just fizzle away from their eyes.
Yeah, just like how this Dragon is fizzling away because we have the kick initiated from Heng, kicking Invincible to the side, but this Equalizer from Biubiu, who is 0-5 on Rumble, isn't doing too much. The Gragas dispositions the entirety of WE, and he is just such a menace for WE to ever handle, and Hope gets that flash bonked onto him, where the Zeri is just instantly dead once again. And I think I saw Shanks also trying his best to one-shot Dream in the backline, but with that Bloodthirster online, you're not one-shotting anyone as this LeBlanc because you're just not ahead in terms of items anymore.
You are just straight up behind. It feels like the Tristana giving a little bit more value, and even before that Dragon fight where the Shanks was looking for a flank, he just got, you know, the bomb put on top of him, but then a couple of auto attacks later, he was a third of his HP. He had to back away. Is Invincible being a little bit more posturing, shall we say? Is Heng trying to see if he can maybe catch out Dream here, and on top of a ward now knows he's been spotted, but The rest of NIP don't want their mid laner to die, so WE gonna have to back away straight away. There's so much that could just obscure your vision. Super minions being put in here. No explosive cast just yet. There it is, never mind. And now Invincible goes golden. Equalizer off the backside of this one here. Invincible's just able to kind of take up all this, but only for so long, and now he's going to go down. That's your most fed carry. The kickback on the Dream, who knocks everybody straight back into Photic. Heng goes golden off of his own stopwatch. Hope and the Aphelios try to be the two carries of this game, but Hope can't really deal with the red and white because you know what it is. It's time to fight. The Lulu in the back of him as well. The flash, the W, Shadow goes in, but he goes over the wall, buffers it, but not quite able to do enough. There's a triple kill coming in for Photic, and with these death timers, they should be able to break open the base.
What a shame. W had this game under control, but Hope he isn't going to be able to ever stand a chance up against Photic, as he has that Lulu for the protection and also just everything dying around the side of W. Inhibitor down for this mid lane now, and this Aphelios is completely online. I have no idea how W is going to come back into this game. Your top side is 2 behind.
Rumble just feels like it's just doing so little there. Normally equalizers in those moments can do so much, but let's have a look at this one here. It's Invincible who kind of goes over a little bit too far forward. You don't expect that much damage to come back.
Yep, and just look at Photic for this entire fight, untouched from the side of WE. Shanks isn't able to do any damage because of the Lulu shield and overheal shield, and also BT shield. This guy is on an absolute rampage, and Hope trying his best to get a return kill, but Shadow comes in with the ultimate, zoning out Hope as well. He has the flash here, but I believe it was to dodge just something. It wasn't even enough because it was to dodge the Lulu Q.
I mean, I guess it does mean it keeps his damage up. Zhonya should be back in about 2 seconds. So Invincible should be able to use that if he so chooses. But looks like he's just going to accept his fate. And Shanks shall pick up that kill. Now we're looking at soul point potentially here for NIP, as 3 members of WE were thrown up towards that top side. No real trade available for them outside of that. So NIP happy to kind of push in this bot side, make sure they have double AD carries, and this is a very low health turret. So don't think it's going to be lasting too much longer.
Yep, and NIP coming into this game 1 with that front-to-back team composition, as Invincible unfortunately did get picked out, but there is nothing on the map since Invincible can just TP towards this dragon, which is going to be spawning in 20 seconds, and I'm sure that they will be able to secure this since they had to burn the Lee Sin ult for that pick in top lane as well. And with NIP having complete control over this bottom side jungle, it's going to be really hard with no front line walking in.
I mean, you're very much reliant on a flash kick, a Nautilus getting a hook and ult onto Photic, or something to work out for your team. But double Shadow Flame, because they know just how much the shields are doing right now for NIP. We will see Shanks kind of pushing in this top side. Don't think he'll be able to get the turret. Maybe actually he only needs like 2 or 3 more auto attacks, but needs to be a bit more aware of where Invincible's kind of pushing himself. And Shanks is happy to keep him here. This is the thing. If Shanks keeps the Gragas up the top side, he's kind of doing his job, as we see an explosive cast.
Oh my god!
That's just too much damage. Invincible, though, maybe going down himself. Doesn't have flash, but does have the Zhonyas. They can't risk it. And that's Shanks being just deleted by this full AP Gragas. So much burst available in this big fat man.
If NIP wins this game and Invincible doesn't get MVP, I'm just gonna scream robbed as the graphic comes online for the broadcast, because he has been having an amazing game on this AP Gragas, as he is just one-shotting Shanks on a LeBlanc, where she has the mobility, but you are now level 18 with that roll in your hands as well. Soul point, triple ocean, might I add. Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. NIP looking to take game 1.
I mean, Shanks had such a great laning phase. He was doing so well against the Tristana, but now it just feels like he's feeling a little bit exposed. Yeah, just flash into the body slam. Not even body slam flash. It was flash into the body slam.
I mean, to be fair, Invincible did have to burn the flash, so that is -1 flash for NIP. Heng trying to clear out the mid wave, but Dream is becoming a nuisance in the side.
I mean, you've triple Ocean Drake and double AD carry. They should be able to take this despite the minions being cleared out by the equalizer. You lose an inhibitor, you can't fight this right now. You weren't in position to kind of control it. Shanks is spotted. He knows he's been spotted, which is good information. He knows that they know. There's a good little bit of damage coming out. Flash in, lands there on top of Invincible, who has still got the Zonyas available to him. Does use it. Biubiu goes golden, as does Hope. Photic gets kicked back. Photic is in the middle of everybody, but Photic can't die. Red, white, let's fight! And that is everything for the side of NIP. They will not lose this game, and WE will have to keep thinking about this series. They still have a job to do. Game's not done just yet. The wave has been cut off by Shanks and by Biubiu. It's the solo laners left to do everything. Shadow should stay alive. Biubiu drops down the equalizer but just to do as much as he possibly can, but it's not going to be anything more than just a delay of this game. NIP are one step away from putting IG into the playoffs. WE, they need to reset, reformulate, reconfirm how they can get back into this series.
This was a scrappy game, Oisin, but NIP comes out on top. 1-0 in this series now, and WE is one loss away from getting eliminated from the playoffs run. I mean, with how that game started, we thought this was WE series.
Yep, absolutely. I think coming into it, you know, WE started off brighter. They had the early game. They even stopped the Tristana from getting that early kills or even the early plates or anything like that. And then it just felt like they panicked. It felt like the ball dropped. They didn't know how to pick it back up again, and they were just scrambling to try and figure out what they're supposed to do. And then NIP just thrived in those situations. And like you said, Invincible was exceptional in the engages, constantly finding out the Zeri, constantly making sure that that gold lead meant literally 0 because the big carry was dead.
Literally meant 0, but my man on that Gragas, he was invincible, living up to his name, honestly, as he was getting those solo kills onto Shanks, where I thought this LeBlanc pick just looked a little bit out of place. We didn't see the amount of damage that you want from her, and she wasn't able to either clear the waves or have any threat onto the double ADC composition that NIP has decided to opt into for this game 1. And I think just throw after throw and mistake after mistake, as Hope was getting a little bit too confident with how the early game went, was their downfall, and now they're one loss away from getting eliminated.
And that's it. You know, it's not over just yet. They can come back, win this 2-1. They still make it into playoffs. That's the key thing here. It's nothing to do with game differential. It's all to do with series score, because it is just going to be, again, you know, a big test for them right now. And I feel like, you know, it was very unfortunate as well for Shanks and the LeBlanc, because you're against 3 Ocean Dragons. What are you supposed to do there? Your poke doesn't really make that big of a difference. Yeah,
and
BTs and everything. I know, just so much. And look, Hope did damage. Biubiu did damage, but it wasn't relevant damage. It doesn't matter if you put endless amounts of damage into Invincible, which we saw them do quite a few times. Photic is still going to be able to smash you. Dream is still going to be able to take down turrets. They're the priorities that you need to be taking into consideration.
Yeah, we need to just remind everyone how Photic was getting solo killed by Hope in that bottom lane, and he was so far behind in terms of gold and items, but with one kill after another set up by Invincible on this Gragas, he was able to become an absolute machine in those team fights, especially with Zhuo on this Lulu, being able to protect him from everything, where it all started with Invincible getting that solo kill onto Biubiu from just purely laning, and that snowballed into such a huge gold lead for this Gragas, where he was just bombering everyone in the team fights.
It felt like great game from Invincible, and now WE, they got some soul searching to do. They still have the power, but can they execute? That is the question. We're going to send it to a quick break. Remember,